another day of the week. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com. Nice little bounce back day there yesterday. 4-1 with my selections on the show there. So we're going to try to bring that winning energy into today, where we are covering it all. NBA. Well, there's just one NBA game, the 2 NHL playoff games, a handful of Major League Baseball selections, and we have a preview for the big UFC 288 pay-per-view going down this weekend in beautiful New Jersey. So here to hopefully help me pick some winners. Let's bring him in. Let's have a look at him. Mr. New York City. Oh, there he is.
Here we go.
How we doing, Ian?
Divorce.
You doing good?
Oh my.
Ian
Divorce
celebrating
time.
his divorce. Ian's divorce is official as of today. So
Yes,
we want to congratulate him on that. I know it's been something that's been weighing on him for quite some time, but his first divorce is final. So congratulations on that, Ian.
Can't wait for number 2.
Okay, there we go. Optimism. I like it. These divorces, man, they cost you a lot of money, but hey, it is what it is. This is why we are in this game here, the gambling business. So let's get into that gambling business. Let's start things off with the biggest game of the night. It is Lakers. It is Warriors in Golden State, game 2 of the series. I'm going to roll with the dog in this one. Ho, 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 ho. Give me the Lakers to cover the +6 spread. So a big question here I have for the Warriors. Will the lack of rest kick in at some point here for Golden State? This is a pretty intense schedule over the past week for the Warriors, a team that likes to give its stars plenty of rest during the regular season. This is their 5th game, their 5th intense game since last Wednesday. Just a day off in between each of the games. Steph Curry and other stars playing some pretty heavy minutes too. The Lakers are the fresher team, and I think that will make a difference at this point of the series. Here's what I like about the Lakers defense. They limit easy buckets. Sure, the Warriors will have some success from three-point land, probably, but that's probably it. The Lakers were great at limiting free throws during the regular season. That's carried over to the playoffs. It carried over to game 1 of this series. LA also hold Golden State to just 28 points in the paint in that game. It's a carryover from the previous round. Among playoff teams, LA is holding opponents to a 35.2% field goal percentage in the paint. That's easily the best among the 16 teams that qualified for the playoffs. Warriors, by the way, allowing a percentage of 11% higher in the paint. And I do expect the three-point shooting to improve for the Lakers in this one. They shot it at just 24% in game 1. Now, this isn't a great three-point shooting team by any means, but Golden State isn't a great team at defending the perimeter. So I think it's fair to expect a bump in that three-point percentage for game 2. Give me the Lakers to keep this one tight and cover the +6 spread. All right, let's hop over to the ice for 2. Starts off in the East. Ian, your Toronto Maple Leafs are going to bounce back and even this one up.
Oh, they're going to bounce back, baby. And not only are the Maple Leafs going to bounce back, we are going to win by at least 2 goals. I'm actually predicting an exact final score, 5-2. So go ahead and bet on that as well. But if you want to play it safe, you can take the Maple Leafs on the puck line, -1.5 at +135 against the Florida Panthers. Game 1, I know my Maple Leafs lost, but take a look at expected goals in game 1. Expected goals, it was 4.46 to 2.47. It shouldn't have even been close. It should have been a blowout the opposite direction. Leafs finished with the most expected goals amongst all 8 teams in every team's game 1 of the second round of the NHL playoffs, and they also finished with the most high danger scoring chances with 20. Now, the only thing that could maybe lead to us losing again tonight is if goddamn Sergei Bobrovsky keeps looking like he did 6 years ago when he won the Vezina Trophy. He can't keep doing this, can he? I certainly don't think so. He had a .944 save percentage in game 1. Expect some regression from him tonight. Let's go Maple Leafs. -1.5 at +135. They win 5-2. Book it.
The Leafs are getting swept by the Panthers in this second round series. Okay, Ian, game out in the Western Conference. How do you see this one playing out?
can't believe you said that, Joe. All right, Western Conference action tonight is the Seattle Kraken against the Dallas Stars. I'm going to look at the total for this one. Plus money play, though. Over 5.5 at plus 110 between the Crackheads and the Stars. It's worth noting, because we noticed this actually in Game 1, that the Seattle Kraken were the best 5-on-5 shooting team in the NHL this season. They had a 5-on-5 shooting percentage of 10.34%. No other team had a shooting percentage above 10 in the regular season during 5-on-5 play. And I'm surprised this total is still at 5.5 after the first game, where we saw a ton of goals. And it's not like both teams played defensively. 4th and 5th in expected goal percentage in Game 1. And the only thing I got right about Game 1 was that Philip Grubauer, the Kraken's goalie, looked bad. He's a bum. 886 save percentage in Game 1. He's finally regressing to the way he should play after a much better than normal round 1 against the Avalanche. So I think we're going to see, well, maybe not plenty of goals, but I think we see at least 6 at plus 110 odds tonight between the Kraken and the Stars.
All right, let's kick around some Major League Baseball now. Some afternoon action. We'll start in Kansas City, where the Orioles are in 10. I'm going to take the Orioles first 5 run line, minus 120, so they need to be leading at the end of 5 for this bet to cash. Jordan Lyles on the bump here for the Royals, and he is getting completely shit-canned this season. A team-high 6.16 fifth in 4 afternoon starts, like today's game in the afternoon. He has a 7.29 ERA. For what it's worth, maybe a coincidence, but the Orioles are raking in afternoon games, coming in at 6th in OPS in that category. Grayson Rodriguez gets the ball here for the Orioles, and this guy's starting to put it together. Back-to-back starts where he's allowed 0 earned runs. That 4.07 season-long ERA might be a little bit misleading when you consider he has a 2.99 fifth on the season. And a big gap offensively here between these teams. Baltimore right around league average offensively versus righties. Nothing special. But here's the thing. Kansas City is dead last in OPS versus righties on the season, so pretty much everyone will have an offensive advantage over the Kansas City Royals. Give me the Orioles first 5 run line. All right, Ian, you have a pitcher prop that you like. Who are you looking at here?
I do. I'm going to fade our guy Kevin Gausman against the Red Sox tonight. I'll go under 5.5 strikeouts for him, all the way at plus 123. How about that? 3 picks for me on the show, all 3 plus money. You gotta love it. He's taking on the Red Sox tonight, who have the lowest strikeout percentage against right-handed pitchers in Major League Baseball so far this season, striking out on only 18.4% of plate appearances. And I also think we're going to see some strikeout regression coming for Kevin Gausman. He's averaging 12.6 strikeouts per 9 innings this season. That is 0.7 more than his career high. That is 2.0 higher than his strikeout rate last season. I can't resist this play at plus money. It hurts me to fade Kevin Gausman, but I got to do it here. We're going to see regression in the strikeout department for him, and I think it comes tonight against a Red Sox team that, like I mentioned, very good at not striking out. So I'll take under 5.5 strikeouts at plus 123.
All right, back to me for 2 NL East matchup. We got the Braves and Marlins getting after it. First 5 total of 4.5 in this one. Boom! Give me the over. A couple left-handed starters in this one, and these teams are absolutely smacking left-handed pitching right now. Braves are first in OPS versus lefties over the last 2 weeks. Miami comes in at 7th. Maybe a bit of a surprise there. Now, Dylan Dodd. Do we have any Dylan Dodd fans watching the show today? Woo! He gets a start here for the Braves, and he's been unimpressive in 2023. He got kicked back down to the minors after posting a 7.71 ERA with a 1.82 whip. 2 big league starts. And here's the thing, in the minors, he wasn't good either. He posted a 4.91 ERA and 14.2 innings of work. Jesus Luzardo on the bump here for Miami. He's going in the wrong direction. He got off to a great start, leading some to believe that the breakout season might finally be here. But I don't know about that. His last 4 starts have seen him post a 5.14 ERA with a 5th in the mid-4s. This is a guy that allows a lot of traffic to Braves create a lot of traffic, ranking third in on-base percentage. Give me over 4.5 in the first 5 between the Braves and the Marlins. All right, let's bring her home here. Pitcher prop for tonight. Brian Bello on the bump here for the Red Sox. He's taking on the Blue Jays. I'm going to take Bello to have over 2.5 earned runs in this one. Let's break this one down. So, Toronto absolutely obliterated Bello last season. He had 3 starts versus Toronto, and he posted a 7.62 ERA and 45 combined at-bats against him. Jays hitters have an OPS over 1,000. He has a team-high 1.86 whip this season. He allows a ton of traffic on the bases, and he allows a lot of hard contact. The sixth highest hard contact percentage among 165 starters with at least 10 innings pitched. Jays 4th in hard contact percentage versus righties over the last 2 weeks. Give me the Jays to smack Bello around. Score at least 3 earned runs against him. Yeah. There you have it. There you have it. Okay, picks for UFC 288 coming right up. Before we get to that, though, guys, if you like our show, it's very easy to let us know that you like the show. It takes about half a second. Not a whole lot of energy either. You just got to go down there and hit that like button. While you're at it, there's a subscribe button right down there as well. So yeah, let us know that you like the show. And if you like betting, and if you want to get some bets in tonight, maybe tail some of our action, maybe fade it, how dare you? But the choice quite simply is yours. I recommend placing that action over at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Let me tell you a little bit about them. If you're looking for a new sportsbook, we have a deal for you. We have an exclusive offer just for Vegas Insider users. Sign up with BetMGM. Use the promo code VIBonusMatch, and you will get up to $1,100 of your deposit match by BetMGM. That's code VIBonusMatch, all one word, no spaces, for a first bet deposit offer up to $1,100. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. All right, let's get right into it. Our official UFC 288 betting preview event going down Saturday night in New Jersey. And let's start in the main event. The 135-pound title is on the line. Ian and I on opposite sides of this one. I'm rolling with Aljamain Sterling to retain his championship, coming in with odds of -105. I think it's time to give Sterling his due here. As if people want to put an asterisk on all his success after that DQ victory he had over Petr Yan in the first fight. Well, how did he look in the second fight versus Yan? How about his first round submission finish over Corey Sandhagen? How about absolutely pulverizing TJ Dillashaw? Sure, Dillashaw was injured, but that's not Sterling's problem. He did his job. How about the fact that the guy hasn't lost since 2017, a span of 8 fights? We have a notable size difference between Sterling and Henry Cejudo. 7 inches of reach for Sterling, 3 in height as well. I also think it's fair to assume Sterling will weigh more when they step into the cage. And let's not forget that Cejudo, he made his name in the 125-pound weight class, and he has not fought top competition at 135, not even close. Let's look at his 2 wins at 135. Marlon Moraes. Congratulations. He beat him. Moraes' career fell off a cliff after that fight. He's 1-7 since that Cejudo fight. Is anyone impressed that Cejudo beat Dominic Cruz, who was on a 3.5-year layoff coming into that fight? Come on now. Cejudo, a good fighter, absolutely. But if you ask me, he's a little bit overrated. Sterling, a little bit underrated. I'll take Sterling to retain -105. Right, Ian, you're on the other side here. Break it down. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I could not disagree more with you, Joe. I think that's a terrible pick. I think you're losing people money. I think if people are smart and they want to win money on the UFC event this weekend, back Henry Cejudo at -115. Both of these fighters claim that they're wrestlers, but only one has an Olympic gold medal around his neck. You see it right there in the picture. That is Henry Cejudo and Sterling. for a wrestler that he claims to be. 41% takedown defense? That's not very good. Henry Cejudo is going to be able to throw this guy around the cage from start to finish, and I'm not yet sold on Aljamain Sterling. Sure, he got his revenge on Piotr Jan, but he got absolutely destroyed in their first fight, and then since then, what do they do? Beat a washed-up TJ Dillashaw? I'm not impressed. I am not impressed with your performance. Little GSP reference there. And also, speaking of TJ Dillashaw, let's look at some common opponents. TJ Dillashaw being one of them. Aljamain Sterling finished him in round 2. Henry Cejudo finished that guy in 32 seconds. Easy work for Henry Cejudo. Also, Marlon Moraes. Sterling lost to Marlon Moraes. Cejudo finished him. This is an easy pick, in my opinion. I can't believe he's only minus 115. Give me Henry Cejudo. Give me the Olympic gold medalist to win in the UFC 288 main event.
Ian ignoring a lot of context. Cherry picking.
I don't think so.
Some points there. Ignoring a lot of red flags, too. We'll get into that a little bit here. But let's drop down to the co-main event. A lot of different factors, some outside influences potentially could have an impact on this one. I couldn't make up my mind, but you have a bet you like in the co-main event. Who you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to take the underdog in this one. I'll take Bilal Muhammad at plus 105 against Gilbert Burns. I love Gilbert Burns, one of my favorite fighters on the roster. Unfortunately, got to fade him here because I think this is going to be another grappling fight here. And unfortunately, well, fortunately, if you're going to bet on him, Bilal Muhammad has the much better takedown defense, 92% takedown defense. Gilbert Burns only 47%. And Muhammad also has a much higher output, 4.47 significant strikes per minute compared to 3.38 for Gilbert Burns. That will make a big difference when it comes to the judges' scorecards if it does get there. And generally, I think guys who fight with a similar style as Bilal Muhammad, and that style is boring but effective, are usually undervalued from a betting perspective because they don't have highlights. The casual fan may not know them as much, but at the end of the day, if you watch this guy fight, you know just how dominant he can be. Very good defensively as well, 58% strike defense rate. So I like Bilal Muhammad here as a slight underdog against Gilbert Burns in the co-main event.
All right, we have an absolute burn burner for my next pick. A fight that's maybe flying under the radar here. Jessica Andrade versus Yan Xiaonan. I'm going to take this fight not to go the distance. You get that at even money. So it's finish or be finished in Andrade fights. That's been the case in 5 of her last 6 fights. 3 knockouts, 2 subs mixed in there. The fight that didn't go to, or the fight that did go to a decision, saw an incredible 331 significant strikes landed over the course of just 15 minutes. We have 2 very high volume strikers here. Andrade lands a ridiculous 6.84 significant strikes per minute, but she's quite bad defensively, absorbing 5.34 significant strikes per minute. Xiaonan lands 5.45 significant strikes per minute. She's a little bit better defensively, but she still gets hit a fair amount here, absorbing 3.53 significant strikes per minute. And don't expect a lot of time getting chewed up with takedown attempts or pressing against the cage or laying praise on the mat. Just 3 combined takedowns in their last 6 fights. Give me Andrade Xiaonan to not go to decision, even money. All right, Ian, your final pick of the event, then I will wrap it up for us. Who you looking at here?
Yes, I can't believe this. I can't believe this guy is fighting again. I didn't think we'd see him again. It's Kron Gracie taking on Charles Jourdain. I'll take Kron Gracie at plus 150 here as an underdog. And if you don't know who Kron Gracie is, yeah, another plus money play for the people. If you don't know who Kron Gracie is, he is the son of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend Rickson Gracie. He is the grandson of the co-founder of the sport, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Helio Gracie. This guy is Jiu-Jitsu legend, so obviously that means he can grapple with the best of them. All 5 of his wins in professional MMA all come by submission. 4 of them come in the first round. So if he even just gets a hold of Charles Jourdain, this fight will be over, and it doesn't bode well for Jourdain that he has a 48% takedown defense, and he fights too aggressively. He averages 5.84 significant strikes per minute. That tells me that he steps forward a lot, and that's not the way to beat a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend like Kron Gracie. You have to be able to pick your strikes. You have to be able to create separation, things that Cub Swanson did when he beat Kron Gracie. I don't think Jourdain does those things. I think Kron Gracie will be able to take him down early, take him down often, and get a submission win by utilizing his world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh boy. Okay, let's bring it home here. A heavyweight banger on the prelims. We have Braxton Smith and Parker Porter getting after it. I'm going to take this fight to be finished in the first round. You get that at minus 120. So check out Braxton Smith here. 100% of his fights have ended in the first round. Small sample size of just 6 fights, sure. But all 6 of those fights have actually been finished in the first half of the first round. Dude isn't in there getting paid by the hour, and he comes in hot with 5 straight KO or TKO victories. Porter also sees a lot of his fights get finished. 75% finish rate in his fights. He's coming off 2 incredibly ugly performances where he was finished in the first round. He's actually been finished in the first round 3 times in 6 appearances inside the octagon. And look at Porter's stats. This guy is all offense, no defense. He lands 6.49 significant strikes per minute, but he absorbs 6.33 significant strikes per minute. Give me Smith and Porter to end in the first round, minus 120. All right. We put up a poll asking you guys to weigh in on this main event. Me and Ian will debate a little bit here, but let's see how you guys see this one playing out. So who are you taking to win in the main event here? 55% of the people on the poll this morning going with Sterling. I mean, it is a pretty tight fight. What I will say about when Ian makes an incredibly bold, incredibly wildly confident prediction on a UFC fight, they blow up incredibly in his face. And I find Ian contradicting himself quite a bit here. You can come back to the camera here, Tito. Contradicting himself quite a bit here. Now, Ian was so confident to pick against John Jones in the Cyril Gane fight, going all in on ring rust. Oh my God, it's been 3.5 years since he fought. Yet you completely ignore that with Cejudo? You telling me you learned your lesson? Is that right?
Yeah, I did learn my lesson. What am I going to do? Just keep doing the same thing and betting against ring rust all the time? Maybe I learned my lesson. Maybe I grew as a human being. And yes, Joe, to your point, my 2 biggest UFC bets I've placed in my life were on number 1, Cyborg against Amanda Nunes. She lost in the first round. And number 2, Cyril Gane against John Jones. Lost in the first round. So, not a great track record, but I'm extremely confident. I also am on record calling Valentina Shevchenko the most overrated fighter on the UFC roster before she went on her run. So I don't have a great track record of hot takes and confidence in the UFC, but I'm due for a big bet to hit.
Yeah, I think maybe I learned my lesson with Aljamain Sterling too. You know, I was against him after that Petr Yan first round. And if you go back and watch that fight, Yan was winning, but he wasn't kicking his ass as badly as I initially thought. But yeah, I think Sterling, he doesn't get enough credit. So I think it's time to give him his due. And I don't think Cejudo has been incredibly impressive at 135. He did his best work at 125. Now he's fighting a much bigger man here. He's much older. I don't really factor ring rust into it. I just think that Sterling is better. So we'll see how that works out. So let's kick around a couple of UFC related topics here, Ian. We got a little bit of time. So something that I kind of find a little suspicious here. What's going on with this Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler fight? They announced that these guys were fighting back in early February. Here we are, 3 months removed from that, and we still have no announcement as to when this fight is going to take place. Now, we know they coached on The Ultimate Fighter against each other. That show's has wrap filming, and that will air on ESPN, I think, later on this month. But what's the holdup here? I guess a big part of the holdup is McGregor's not back in the USADA pool for performance-enhancing drug testing. little suspicious, don't you think? So I don't know, man. You're starting to hear some rumors, like what is going on? Is this fight going to be delayed even further? Is it going to happen at all? Maybe McGregor's not recovering from that injury he had to the leg when his leg snapped in half. But he's what, 2 years removed from fighting? Would you be shocked if this fight doesn't happen?
No, I would not be shocked. And also McGregor, Joe, I don't know if you saw it, but it was in the ring doing a promo with
Bare
Mike
knuckle.
Perry at the bare knuckle fight this past weekend. So, I mean, at this point, I'm just kind of fed up with Conor McGregor. It's a shame because when Conor McGregor, for those who didn't watch the UFC way back when he was kind of coming up through the ranks, he was so entertaining and so inspiring and so fun to listen to, but he's just become annoying. He's changed his entire persona. I find him annoying. And I used to be a huge Conor McGregor fan. So
Yes.
yeah, until he's in the ring, I'm trying not to pay attention to him because he's kind of all talk nowadays. If he does fight, I'll watch. It won't be with as much excitement as it used to be, but yeah, no, I would not be surprised if this fight doesn't happen. That would be very McGregor-esque.
Yeah, here's my thoughts on this fight. I mean, it probably does happen when it first got announced. I kind of went back and forth a little bit. I thought, this is not a bad opponent for McGregor. Chandler's a guy that gets dropped in the majority of the fights that he's in. He's ultra aggressive. McGregor, a bit of a counter striker. McGregor probably does have a size advantage against him. So I kind of went back and forth, but then I was like, well, let's just apply some common sense to this. Who are you going to take? Do you want to take the guy who's done nothing but fight elite level competition in the UFC over the past 3 years, or the guy who's chugging a bottle of whiskey at a bare if it doesn't happen? So another thing I want to throw at you here, Israel Adesanya still victory lapping after his middleweight victory knockout. Very, very impressive win. One of the most impressive wins in UFC history, all that he needed to overcome, knocking out Alex Pereira in that fight. But he's still talking a little bit of shit here. So he's saying he doesn't regret mocking Pereira's child at the conclusion of that fight. Some people have an issue with that. I don't know what to think of it, really. But then he comes out with this statement. He says, so they fought, 4 total times across kickboxing and the UFC. Pereira's won 3 of those fights with 2 knockouts, and Adesanya won the most recent one. So it's 3-1 for Pereira if you want to combine all the fights together. And Adesanya is coming out and he says quality over quantity, which I didn't think made a whole lot of sense because considering Pereira has knocked him out twice. And what I'm wondering about this rivalry, this matchup, why was everyone so quick to put an end to this chapter, this rivalry, and just move away from it at the conclusion of the fight? What was it, a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, when Adesanya won? They're 1-1 against each other in the UFC. It's an incredible rivalry, and Adesanya and the UFC and Dana White, they were just happy to move on from it. Shouldn't you be looking to book a rubber match here? Now, I know Pereira came out and he said that he wants to move up to 205. I know it's a hard weight cut for him, but don't you think if the UFC said, okay, this is a incredible rivalry between these guys, a grudge match, we want to do a third fight, I think Pereira would accept that. But don't you find it odd, Ian, that Adesanya maybe running from this a little bit?
No, not really. This is a guy who's already lost to him 3 times, so I think it's just kind of a case of taking his ball and going home. I don't think after finally defeating Pereira and finally getting that monkey off his back to then now fight him again and risk losing and kind of, erasing that was probably a very cathartic win for him. No, it's not really surprising to me, especially with the UFC feeling that way as well, because let's be honest, Adesanya is a much more marketable fighter than Pereira is. So no, it makes sense to me that they kind of want to move on. Also, with rivalries, I think sometimes you got to kind of let them breathe a little bit. To do back-to-back 3 fights in a row. The best rivalries always stretch over a number of years. So I hope it does happen again, but I'm for letting it breathe for a few years. Let these guys maybe go to a different weight class, fight a couple different opponents, build the story a little bit, and then maybe let's see the rubber match again in a few years. So no, I'm fine with them moving on.
Okay, Ian, as everyone knows, you are a resident Toronto Maple Leafs fan, so it is now time for our Maple Leafs fan mental health check. Now, the Leafs have a tendency of throwing their fans and bettors off the scent a little bit. Congrats to them on beating the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they come out, they analytically wise, I guess you could say they outplayed the Panthers in game one, but the only thing that matters is that they lost. Now, you're awfully confident here going into game two. So the mental health is unfazed, but how are you going to be feeling if the Maple Leafs drop this one tonight and they go in an 0-2 hole with those first two games happening at home too?
I certainly won't feel good about it, but also, I mean, I do admit I actually think the Leafs in the playoffs might play better on the road. I think they feel pressure from their fans when they're at home, and I don't think that helps them. They're not exactly a team that deals extremely well with pressure. I mean, they won all 3 road games in Tampa Bay in the first round. I mean, all 3 were in overtime, but they still won those games. But yeah, I'm confident. You saw it in game one, even though the final score didn't go our way. We just match up better stylistically against the Panthers. They don't play as well defensively. We got a ton of scoring opportunities. Now, the number one difference in game one was goaltending. Samsonov did not play well. I am not as high on Samsonov as a lot of the Maple Leafs fan base. A lot of people believe in Samsonov. I don't really. And then Bobrovsky stood on his head. So we need some regression to the mean in goaltending on both sides, or else we're screwed. But if both goaltenders play at a similar level, then we're going to be fine. We do a lot better with this more wide open style of play that the Panthers play, as opposed to the Lightning, which have a little bit more of a lockdown, especially on the defensive side of the ice. So I'm confident. I'm good. We're going to win tonight. We're going to win both games in Florida. We're going to win in game 5 in Toronto. We're still winning this in 5. We're going to win 4 straight. I'm confident.
I don't know. I'm going to take the Panthers to sweep them.
Oh, stop. You don't actually think that, though.
I do. The history of the Toronto Maple Leafs, this would be perfect, and it would make perfect sense. They throw everyone off the scent. Leafs fans, they win a first-round series, and they act like they win the Stanley Cup. And I don't blame the people for celebrating. Congrats. It's been 19 years of being absolutely pathetic, and they win the first-round series. So congrats on winning the first round. But I will not be shocked if the Panthers sweep them in this round. Make sure you clip this, so when the Panthers win game 4, we'll be able to show it to all the people out there. No, I don't even know what the odds are on that. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to place a 1-unit bet, Ian.
The best bet you can place in professional sports right now is for the Leafs to win this series at plus money.
Oh, boy. I did not know about that. Okay. Wanting to write down here. It is now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check, proudly presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today's featured expert is Gary Barrett, who swept the board with a 3-0 all-sports record yesterday, is on a 6-1 MLB win streak. Joe Madden nailed her last 3 NBA playoff picks, extending her run to 30-14. And MLB profits leader ASA has an impressive 27-8 MLB record this season. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for today's early MLB action, plus NBA and NHL playoff winners. That's your Handicapper Heat Check. Stay hot, bettors. All right, Ian, you're going to be back with us tomorrow. Do you have anything going on out there that Chasing That Paper viewers can check out so they can get more of Ian? People need their Ian fix. Give it to them, Ian.
Yes. Subscribe to the Bacon Bets podcast, of course. You can check out all my written work. I'll be writing on Fansided all day today. And tomorrow, Joe, I'll be back on the show, and I will have, for the people, the Kentucky Derby winner. So you better tune into this show tomorrow, because I'm diving into Kentucky Derby today. I will find out what horse will win, and I will present that to the audience tomorrow.
Yeah, a Derby preview. The best, I'm going to say it, it will be the best Kentucky Derby betting preview in all of sports betting. Right here tomorrow, courtesy of Ian. Well, I hope he's doing some research as opposed to his UFC picks, where he throwing darts, picking names out of a hat, coming up with ridiculous logic, ignoring his past logic, contradicting himself. ignoring
How much do you think a
context.
ticket is to the UFC? That maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll go to the UFC this weekend.
The Prudential Center. I think you get in for $200, maybe, for like an upper bowl type
Pooh!
of seat.
I will not be
What are
going
we
to the
looking
UFC
at?
this weekend. To get
What
in
are
the
we looking
building,
at?
$270 to get in the building right now.
Yeah.
And that's probably for
To go to
not
Newark?
good seats.
This isn't Madison
I
Square Garden.
I will
Ladies and
not be
gentlemen.
paying $270 to go to Newark and sit in the nosebleed. So I'll be watching that one from home.
I went to UFC 200 in Las Vegas. It was absolutely incredible. Now, it was funny. A couple days before the event, John Jones popped for PEDs. And they need to cancel. That was supposed to be the main event, him versus Daniel Cormier. And it was still a loaded card, though. So, but yeah, that sucks. So, Brock Lesnar fight, who popped for PEDs at the conclusion.
Mark
That fight.
Hunt.
So, a big steroid card. UFC 200. UFC 300. Right around the corner. I remember watching UFC 100.
Brock
GSP,
Lesnar.
Thiago Alves, Brock Lesnar, Frank Mir, Dan Henderson landed that knockout on Michael Bisping. Jeez,
Oh, yeah, the H-bomb.
what I wondered about the UFC, we'll wrap up here in a minute, but I always thought it was weird. Like, are they going to get away from naming their pay-per-views just with the number of the event? Like, isn't it going to be weird 4 years from now? And it's like, yeah, UFC 473. No? I know they do that with like WrestleManias, but that's once a year. But I don't know. They don't do it like you would think that they would do the two guys in the main event, like this weekend, like UFC Sterling versus Cejudo, but they don't do that, I guess, for marketing reasons because of all the reasons, times where a fighter needs to drop out of a fight.
Right.
That causes a lot of complications. Stuff. So I don't know.
A couple decades from now, we'll be watching UFC 1752. Can't wait for that card.
Can't wait for that one. Hope to watch that one live. Okay, gonna wrap things up here. We're gonna be right back with you tomorrow, covering all the usual stuff: NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, and we will have the best Kentucky Derby betting preview on the internet, courtesy of Ian. We will see you then. Ian, thank you for joining us again. We thank producer Tito for producing. We thank you, dear viewer, for checking us out once again. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Yeah!